Today's video is going to be all about sketching and painting portraits. Woo! This is my daughter Jenna, and I'll be using her as a reference photo today. Smile, Jenna. Hi, welcome back to the channel, and for those of you who are new, please do hit the subscribe button as it makes me very happy. I'm Johnny B, and I'd like to give you some tips today on how I go about drawing portraits. I'm going to be using my Mars Black Lumograph Staedtler pencils and some soft charcoal. I'll also be using my Winsor & Newton putty rubber, which is an eraser, a kneadable eraser, really good. You can squeeze it into a thin shape so you can get nice thin edges when erasing your pencil or artwork out. It's really quite good. I'll also be using a blending stick. I find these quite helpful for smudging pencil. And I don't know whether you know, but if you usually get some sandpaper that comes with it, and once you've got a load of pencil on the blending stick, it's good to rub it on the actual sandpaper itself to smoothen it off to get a nice clean edge again. And this helps any unnecessary dirty marks you're going to be spreading about. And a soft paintbrush just to do some final blending. Let's get on with it then.
Excellent!
I'm starting off with a 4B Mars Black Lumograph pencil. These pencils are great because they haven't got any lead in them, so like a normal pencil when you're drawing and it catches the light, it's got a shine to it and it's always quite difficult to photograph. But with these Mars Black pencils you don't get that, you get the perfect tone. Also, the way we hold our pencil really does impact how a drawing can look. If you notice, I'm holding mine on the very edge of the very tip of the pencil, therefore creating very light, soft lines. Because for the first part of the sketch, obviously we're mapping out where the head, where the shapes are, and most of the time we need to erase some lines that are not in perspective, not perfect. So we need these lines to be fairly light to begin with, and all I'm doing here is I'm just mapping out suggestions of lines where the shoulders are at the moment, where the head is in proportion to the body, and I just start building this structure of lines and suggestions of where things are in proportion to each other. Now, my advice when sketching a portrait or a person is don't get too hung up on thinking about it as a face and a body, because that puts people off and that scares people from trying to draw a portrait. I'm about done with the first part of the sketch, so I'm going to go out now and have a breath of fresh air, and I'll see you back in a minute.
I'm sweating, I'm sweating, I'm sweating, I'm sweating.
Let's go make some art.
So the reason I've chose this photo for my reference is I just really love the colours. I love the shadow, I love the darkness and all the tones within it, and the fact that you can see the sunlight beaming across the face and onto the wall, casting a lovely shadow there. I think as a photograph it works really well, and I want to try and capture that in my drawing and also in my painting later on. This drawing is not meant to be picture perfect. What I'm trying to do here is sort of show how we go about shading and adding tones and values. I'm not trying to get perfectly drawn picture. That's not what this is about. This is about exploring, using pencil and using shading and using tones and just having fun, because I'm using this drawing as a starting block for my painting. And once I'm happy with this, I'll move on to the painting, to the next phase. Now when we're drawing and painting and creating art, sometimes things do go wrong, and this isn't a bad thing. This is going to help us learn, because we have to correct things that go wrong. The reason I've said this is because I mentioned that I was going to be using charcoals, but I've changed my mind. I started putting charcoal down on this drawing. As you can see, the strip down the middle, and it's not blending right. So I've decided to just stick with the pencils. So now I'm using the 8B Mars Black. I've gone from the 4B, which was slightly lighter, to this darker but softer pencil, which helps with the darker tones and helps to blend easier. Well, I think I'm quite happy with how this is at the moment, so I'm not going to overwork it. That's just what I needed to do. I can see the shades, I've got a feel for the picture, so I know what I want my painting to look like now. I haven't really captured the resemblance of my daughter, her features, but I have captured the pose. So let's move on to the painting. Right, I'm using watercolour paper for this, as I think I'm going to start off in watercolours and progress to acrylics. And just like magic, the sketch is done. Now it's time to add the watercolour. I'll be using Payne's Grey, Cobalt Blue, Cerulean Blue, Ultramarine, Lemon Yellow, Quinacridone Gold, Cadmium Orange and Quinacridone Magenta. Quinacridone. I'm going to be using watercolours as the underpainting, because for me that works best, getting some colour down, matching your colours and tones, ready for the second layer where I'll be using acrylics. Now, using the watercolours on this watercolour paper is fairly easy. You can use them watered down and opaquely, or you can use them thicker by using less water. That way the colour pigment comes out much darker. Now, acrylics are water based too, so you can actually thin them down with water and use them almost like watercolours. I've not actually used acrylics on watercolour paper before, so this will be a first for me. So we'll see how it looks. There's no right or wrong way how to draw or paint. It's about making marks and expressions, and obviously the more you draw and the more you paint and the more you practice, the better you get. And you will find your own style of drawing and painting. It's always good to watch others, but it's more important to be yourself and develop your own style, because that's what makes us different, and that's what makes our work stand out and be different from everybody else's. And most of us sit back and look at what we've painted or drawn, and we're never quite happy with it. We see something that we could have done better, or we see something that perhaps hasn't worked as well as we've wanted it to work. And that's fine, that's great, because that's all about improving. You're spotting something that you're not happy with. So in the long term, you're going to change it, or you're going to have a second go. And when you do, you're going to improve. And that is great. As artists, we're always striving to do better. And every painting and every drawing and everything that we create artistically, we're always wanting to improve that and make things better. And that is what's going to keep our passion for our artwork. So if you're sitting at home and watching this video, have a go, get your paints out, get your pencils out and draw something or paint something. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be a portrait. It can be anything, as long as you're being creative and enjoying what you do. I'm going to stop talking now and carry on painting. See you in a bit.
Lights down low, still wondering what you're saying.
Stay, stay, stay.
Please don't go, I'd rather have you staying. What is this game you're playing? Even if it hurts with time, we were never meant to fight. Something at the finish line. Stay, stay, stay. Even if we're short on time, at least we'll never wonder why this love was so hard to find. Stay, stay, stay.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video and today's art. Just remember, there's no bad art. If it comes from you, it's always good. See you on the next one.
Dad, are you painting me?
Yeah.
You are fired.